There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman stops just liking you and starts emotionally investing in you in a way that can change everything. And if you miss that moment, you don't just lose her interest, you lose the version of her that was ready to choose you. Before we go deeper, take a second, subscribe to the channel and like this video, because what you're about to understand isn't surface-level dating advice, it's the kind of psychological clarity most men realize too late. Now listen carefully. When a woman starts falling for you hard, she doesn't announce it. She hides it, sometimes even from herself. Not because she's playing games, but because attraction, when it becomes intense, creates vulnerability. And vulnerability makes her cautious. So instead of saying, "I like you," she begins to behave differently around you in ways most men completely misread. She becomes more attentive, but not in an obvious way. She remembers small details you casually mentioned days ago. She adjusts her tone when she speaks to you. There's a softness that wasn't there before, like she's choosing her words more carefully, not because she's unsure, but because she suddenly cares more about how you feel. And here's where it gets deeper. She starts emotionally tracking you, not in a controlling way, but in a quiet, internal way. Your mood matters to her now. Your absence feels heavier. If you pull back slightly, she notices instantly, even if she pretends not to. But instead of chasing you openly, she often does the opposite. She becomes a little more reserved. That's the part that confuses men. You think, she's losing interest. No, she's trying to protect the growing feeling she doesn't fully understand yet. Because when a woman starts falling too fast, her mind steps in and says, "Slow down, don't get hurt." So she balances between warmth and distance. And if you don't recognize this emotional push and pull, you'll respond the wrong way. You'll either become needy and overwhelm her, or pull away too hard and make her feel unsafe. Both destroy what could have been something real. Right now, there's a high chance you've already experienced this, but you misread it as mixed signals. It wasn't confusion. It was depth you weren't trained to recognize. There's something subtle that happens when she starts liking you more than she planned. She begins to reveal herself in fragments, not all at once, but in carefully measured pieces. You'll notice it in the way conversations shift. At first, everything was light, easy, even playful. But now, she starts slipping in parts of her real world. Her stress, her past, her insecurities, not as a dramatic confession, but as quiet admissions woven into normal conversation. And this is where most men make a critical mistake. They either ignore it, or they try to fix it. Both responses break the emotional bridge she's trying to build with you. Because when a woman is falling for you, she's not looking for solutions, she's looking for emotional safety. She's testing whether you can hold her truth without judging it, rushing it, or using it against her later. And when you respond calmly, when you don't overreact or try to impress her with answers, something shifts inside her. She relaxes, not externally at first, but internally. Her guard lowers just a little more. Now here's the part you need to understand deeply. When her feelings grow stronger, she becomes more aware of the risk you represent. You're no longer just a guy she enjoys talking to, you're becoming someone who could actually affect her emotionally. And that awareness creates tension inside her, so she starts observing you more closely. She watches how you handle pressure, how consistent you are, whether your words match your actions. She pays attention to how you treat other people, not just her. And she doesn't announce these observations. She studies you silently. This is her way of asking one unspoken question. Is he safe to fall for? And your behavior during this phase matters more than anything you could ever say. If you become unpredictable, if your attention suddenly spikes and drops, if your energy feels unstable, she will pull back, not because she lost interest, but because her instincts are protecting her from investing in the wrong person. But if you remain grounded, steady, emotionally in control, you become rare in her eyes. And rarity creates attraction at a level most men never reach. Because now, she's not just feeling something for you, she's trusting it. And once a woman starts trusting her feelings for you, she doesn't just like you. she starts imagining you in her life in ways she won't admit out loud. When a woman is secretly falling hard for you, something shifts in the way she gives you access to her time, and more importantly, her attention. Because attention is her real currency. At the beginning, she responds when it's convenient. There's no emotional weight behind it. But when her feelings deepen, her attention starts to follow you, even when she's busy, even when she tells herself it shouldn't. You'll notice she replies faster, not always instantly, but consistently. And consistency is the signal most men overlook. It's not about speed, it's about priority. You start becoming part of her daily mental space. She sees something during her day, and you come to mind. A joke, a random thought, a small moment, and suddenly she feels the urge to share it with you. Not because it's important, but because you are becoming important to her. And this is where the emotional attachment quietly builds. But here's the twist. At the same time her attention increases, she may begin to pull back slightly in expression. Less obvious flirting, less direct compliments, sometimes even a cooler tone. And if you don't understand female psychology, this feels like a contradiction. But it's not. It's emotional self-control, because the more she feels, the more she tries to avoid looking like she feels too much. She doesn't want to appear easy. She doesn't want to lose her sense of control. And most importantly, she doesn't want to risk you realizing how much influence you're starting to have over her. So she balances it. She gives you access, but not full clarity. Now here's where you either strengthen the connection or slowly break it. If you chase her for reassurance, asking where you stand, needing constant validation, you shift the dynamic. You move from being the man she's curious about to the man she feels pressure from. And pressure kills emotional attraction faster than rejection ever could. But if you stay composed, if you don't react emotionally to her slight pullbacks, if you allow her space without disappearing, you create something very powerful. You give her the freedom to lean in on her own. And when a woman leans in by choice, not because she's pushed, her feelings grow deeper, more genuine, and more lasting. At this point, she's no longer just interested. She's becoming emotionally invested in a way she can't easily reverse. And once that happens, her actions start revealing more than her words ever will. There comes a stage in her emotional shift where she stops reacting to you like everyone else and starts prioritizing you differently without even realizing it. This is where things become very real, very fast. You'll notice she begins to include you in her decision-making process in small, indirect ways. She asks your opinion on things that don't really need your input, what she should do, how she should respond, even simple life choices that she could handle alone. On the surface, it looks casual, but psychologically it's not. It's emotional alignment. She is slowly starting to measure her reality through your perspective, and that is a major internal shift. Because when a woman is emotionally detached, she doesn't seek your input, she informs you. But when she's falling for you, she starts collaborating with you mentally before anything even happens. And there's something else that happens at this stage. She begins to notice your absence differently. Not just, I haven't heard from him, but a deeper feeling, something slightly uncomfortable, almost like a gap in her emotional rhythm. She won't always admit it. In fact, she might even distract herself from it. But it's there. And this is where most men misinterpret her behavior again. She might not chase you directly. Instead, she may test your presence in quieter ways, liking something you posted, sending a random message that doesn't seem urgent, or finding reasons to re-engage without fully exposing how much she missed the connection. Because at this stage, vulnerability feels dangerous to her. She's aware, whether consciously or not, that she's becoming emotionally invested. And investment creates fear of loss. So she starts balancing two instincts at once, the desire to get closer and the fear of getting hurt. That's why her energy can feel inconsistent if you don't understand what's happening underneath. But here's the truth most men never realize. She is not confused about you. She is negotiating her feelings about what you represent emotionally. And if you respond with patience instead of pressure, with consistency instead of emotional chasing, something important happens. Her internal resistance starts to soften, because she begins to feel something rare, emotional safety without emotional demand. And in female psychology, that combination doesn't just attract her, it anchors her attention to you in a way she starts to trust more deeply over time. When a woman is secretly falling hard for you, she begins doing something she would never consciously admit. She starts imagining you in her future, but only in fragments, not full scenarios, not dramatic fantasies. Just small, quiet mental snapshots, like wondering how it would feel to talk to you every day without hesitation, or how it would be if you were there during moments that matter to her emotionally. It's subtle, almost automatic, and she usually doesn't even realize she's doing it. But here's what matters for you to understand. These thoughts don't appear unless emotional attachment is already forming, and once they appear, her behavior starts shifting in ways that are easy to miss if you're not paying attention. She becomes more emotionally consistent with you, not perfect, but noticeably more stable than before. The highs and lows start to smooth out because her mind is trying to create predictability around you. Why? Because unpredictability feels unsafe when emotions are involved. So she starts testing a new internal question. Can I rely on how this feels? And to answer that, she watches you closely during normal, everyday interactions. How do you respond when she's slightly distant? Do you get offended or do you stay calm? Do you overreact or do you remain steady? Every reaction you give is data she collects silently. And here's where attraction either deepens or collapses. If you start chasing her when she pulls back, you accidentally confirm her fear that emotional intensity with you might become unstable. But if you stay grounded, if you don't punish her distance, don't demand constant reassurance, don't shift your emotional state based on her behavior, you begin to represent something very rare to her nervous system: emotional consistency without pressure. And that creates a powerful internal association. You are no longer just a person she likes talking to. You become someone her mind categorizes as safe to feel deeply for. At this point, her feelings don't need encouragement. They start to sustain themselves. And the more stable you remain, the more her emotional investment grows. Not because you are chasing her, but because you are giving her something she is subconsciously searching for. Certainty in a connection that feels real. There is a very specific point in her emotional shift where everything becomes harder for her to hide, even if she tries. She starts paying attention to you in moments when she shouldn't be, not in an obvious way, not in a dramatic way, but in quiet pauses of her day where your presence interrupts her thoughts without permission. And that is where emotional attachment reveals itself most honestly. You'll notice small behavioral changes that don't look significant on their own, but together tell a clear psychological story. She becomes more responsive to your tone than your words. If you sound slightly distant, she feels it. If you sound calm and grounded, she adjusts to it. Her emotional state starts syncing with yours more than she would ever admit. And this is not manipulation. This is emotional attunement. Because when a woman is falling for you, her nervous system begins to map you as a reference point. Now here's the part most men completely misunderstand. She may not become more openly expressive. In fact, she might do the opposite at times. She might act slightly more controlled, more reserved, even a little unpredictable in her communication style. And you might think something is going wrong, but what's actually happening is this. She is trying to manage the intensity of her own feelings so she doesn't lose control of herself. Because deep attraction doesn't just create comfort, it also creates vulnerability. And vulnerability makes people cautious, especially when they don't yet feel fully secure in the connection. So she tests emotional balance without announcing it. She pulls slightly, then reconnects. Not to play games, but to see if the connection remains stable when she's not actively holding it together. And your reaction during this phase is everything. If you become reactive, emotional, or inconsistent in return, you reinforce her fear that the connection might be unstable. But if you remain steady, present, calm, unshaken by her fluctuations, you create something her mind starts to trust deeply over time. Because now she experiences something rare, a man whose emotional presence does not collapse when hers shifts. And that is where attraction stops being curiosity and starts becoming emotional dependence she can no longer easily detach from. And then, there's the moment she can't fully control anymore. The moment where her actions begin to reveal what her words are still trying to hide. Because when a woman falls too deeply, her behavior starts to contradict her restraint. She may still act composed, she may still avoid saying anything direct, but her investment becomes visible in the way she shows up for you. She makes time, real time, not leftover time. Even when she's busy, even when it's inconvenient, she finds a way to stay connected. Not always in big gestures, but in consistent presence. And presence is something she doesn't give easily unless it means something. You'll also notice something else. She becomes more affected by small changes in you. If your energy shifts, she feels it. If you become distant, even slightly, it lingers in her mind longer than it should. She might not confront you about it, but internally, it matters. That's because at this point, you are no longer just part of her routine, you are part of her emotional stability. And here's where everything becomes clear, if you're paying attention. She starts investing without guarantees, without labels, without certainty, without knowing where it will lead. And that is something a woman does only when her feelings have crossed a certain threshold. Because emotional investment without security goes against her natural instinct to protect herself. Yet she does it anyway. Quietly, carefully, and sometimes fearfully. Now understand this deeply. This is the stage where most men make their biggest mistake. They either take her presence for granted, or they suddenly try to lock her down out of fear of losing her. Both destroy the connection. Because what she needs here is not pressure and not neglect. She needs emotional steadiness. A man who doesn't rush the connection, but also doesn't disappear from it. If you can hold that balance, if you can stay grounded while she's navigating the depth of her own feelings, you become something very rare in her life. Not just someone she likes, but someone she feels safe choosing. And when a woman reaches that point, she doesn't just fall for you. She commits to you emotionally in a way that most men spend their entire lives trying to understand, but never truly see coming.